We can't hear the presentation.
Roderick.
We can't hear the presentation.
Roderick, do you know how to share your volume? I don't know if you can hear me. So if you go to the top of your screen, a floating taskbar will most likely kind of like drop down. And there should be like a dot, dot, dot. I can't hear you. You might be muted if you're trying to say something.
Fiona, who are you talking to?
Roderick.
Okay, because
he's the one that's sharing his screen.
Okay, because I don't have any volume. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Come over here, boy.
Can somebody text Roderick or something? Because I don't know if he's hearing or knowing what's going on. Can somebody text him?
I'll send him a text.
Okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. Just
it's very intimidating, but you kind of get the hang of it over time.
Coding is something that can be learned, and I know
start letting people in.
A lot of things are intimidating, but you know what isn't.
A lot of the coding that people do is actually fairly simple. It's more about the process of breaking down problems than sort of coming up with complicated algorithms as people traditionally think about it.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to code. You need to be determined.
Addition, subtraction, that's about it.
You should probably know your multiplication tables.
You don't have to be a genius to code. Do you have to be a genius to read?
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball or, build a house, and all of these things have been turned upside down by software.
What it is, computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work?
Communicate, to bank information, and none of us know how to read and write code.
When I was in school, I was in this after-school group called the Whiz Kids, and when people found out, they laughed at me and all these things. And I'm like, man, I don't care. I think it's cool, and I'm learning a lot, and some of my friends have jobs.
Policy is literally to hire as many talented engineers as we can find. The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
To get the very best people, we try to make the office as awesome as possible.
We have a fantastic chef.
Free food.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Free laundry.
Snacks. Even places to play and video games and scooters. There's all these kind of interesting things around the office and places where people can play or relax or go to think or play music or be creative.
Whether you're trying to make a lot of money or whether you just want to change the world, computer programming is an incredibly empowering skill to learn.
I think if someone had told me that software is really about humanity, that it's really about helping people by using computer technology, it would have changed my outlook a lot earlier.
To be able to actually come up with an idea and then see it in your hands and then be able to press a button and have it be in millions of people's hands. I mean, I think we're the first generation in the world that's really ever had that kind of experience.
Just to think that, I mean, you can start something in your college dorm room and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
I think it's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
I was 13 when I first got access to a computer.
My parents bought me a Macintosh in 1984 when I was 8 years old.
I was in 6th grade.
I learned to code in college.
Freshman year, first semester, intro to computer science.
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I think it was pretty humble beginnings. I think the first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
The first time I actually had something come up and say, hello world, and I made a computer do that. It was just astonishing.
Learning how to program didn't start off as wanting to learn all of computer science or trying to master this discipline or anything like that. It just started off because I wanted to do this one simple thing. I wanted to make something that was fun for myself and my sisters. And I wrote this little program and then basically just added a little bit to it. And then when I needed to learn something new, I looked it up either in a book or on the internet and then added a little bit to it.
It's really not unlike kind of playing an instrument or something or playing a sport. It starts out being very intimidating, but you kind of get the hang of it over time.
Coding is something that can be learned. And I know it can be intimidating. A lot of things are intimidating, but what isn't?
A lot of the coding that people do is actually fairly simple. It's more about the process of breaking down problems than, sort of coming up with complicated algorithms as people traditionally think about it.
You don't have to be a genius to know how to code. You need to be determined.
Addition, subtraction, that's about it.
You should probably know your multiplication tables.
You don't have to be a genius to code. Do you have to be a genius to read?
Even if you want to become a race car driver or play baseball or build a house, and all of these things have.
What it is computers are everywhere. You want to work in agriculture? Do you want to work in entertainment? Do you want to work in manufacturing? It's just all over.
Here we are, 2013. We all depend on technology to communicate, to bank, information, and none of us know how to read and write code.
When I was in school, I was in this after-school group called the Whiz Kids. And when people found out, they laughed at me and, all these things. And I'm like, man, I don't care. I think it's cool. And, I'm learning a lot. And some of my friends have jobs.
Our policy is literally to hire as many talented engineers as we can find. The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
To get the very best people, we try to make the office as awesome as possible.
fantastic chef,
free food,
breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
free laundry,
snacks, even places to play and video games and scooters. There's all these kind of interesting things around the office and places where people can play or relax or go to think or play music or be creative.
Whether you're trying to make a lot of money or whether you just want to change the world, computer programming is an incredibly empowering skill to learn.
I think if someone had told me that software is really about humanity, that it's really about helping people by using computer technology, it would have changed my outlook a lot earlier.
To be able to actually come up with an idea and then see it in your hands and then be able to press a button and have it be in millions of people's hands. I mean, I think we're the first generation in the world that's really ever had that kind of experience.
Just to think that, I mean, you can start something in your college dorm room and you can have a set of people who haven't built a big company before come together and build something that 1 billion people use as part of their daily lives is just crazy to think about, right? It's humbling and it's amazing.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You know, you're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
It's amazing. I think it's the closest thing we have to a superpower.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
Hey, welcome everyone to PGCPS Level Up with Code event. I am Charlotte Avery. I am the outreach coordinator for the REAP Initiative for Inclusion and Diversity in Computing at the University of Maryland, and I am a former PGCPS middle school math and computer science teacher. I will be your host tonight. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening, and we hope that you and your family will be able to learn something new about coding. We look forward to sharing our efforts with you and introducing you to some of our teachers and our UMD undergraduates who are helping us share our knowledge about coding with you. I would like to bring your attention to a few house rules for this evening. Please remain muted during this presentation. Feel free to use reaction features to applaud our guest speakers that we have tonight. Also, to enhance your overall experience, please engage with us during the coding activities section of our event tonight. Have your video on during that time, do the activities, and basically have fun. Okay, now let's get started. Computer science develops students' computational and critical thinking skills and helps them to create the impossible, new technologies, and prepare them for the 21st century. Regardless of whatever field they have an interest in, whether it's dance, whether it's fashion or medicine or law, there's a place for computer science. Next, thank you. PGCPS offers Scratch Boot Up, Girls Can Game, robotics programs, and many clubs that your elementary age student can join. Our media arts department also has computer science lessons embedded in their curriculum. As your child moves into middle school, they will be able to take courses such as CS Discoveries, Technology Concepts, Tech Media and Design, and other courses throughout their time in middle school. Some software platforms that they will learn are App Inventor, Code.org, Python, and Minecraft, among other things. While in high school, your child can continue their pursuit toward college and career readiness by taking classes in AP Computer Science A and Principles courses and earning industry certifications in areas such as Microsoft, Java, and Oracle. We have growing partnerships with Amazon Future Engineer Program, which is providing computer science and coding access to students in underrepresented and underserved communities. Amazon Plus Boot Up Computer Science is sponsoring our elementary schools this year with professional development and instructional resources to our elementary teachers. We also have special support from various organizations and our local universities who share our same mission. Now, I would like to introduce our Maryland State Department Computer Science Specialist, Elisa Hoser, and Elisa will share our state efforts.
Good evening, and thank you so much for including me in this exciting event. My name is Elisa Hazor, and I'm the computer science specialist at the Maryland State Department of Education. And I'm so excited to be here with you, not only with the students, but also the families who are here to learn with and from their students. In Maryland, we believe that all students in elementary school, all of you, should have experience with computers, not only using them, but exploring with them, creating with them, and also learning to program them. And we are so excited that you guys, some of you will have the opportunity to participate in the Amazon Future Engineers program and really learn in depth how to program computers. Once you get to middle school, you will be solidifying your computational thinking skills. So you really begin to understand how computers think. Can you advance the slides, please? Sorry. One more. There you go. And go back one, please. And you will begin to make games, make computers light up circuits, operate robots, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to put the computers to work for you. Okay, next slide, please. And then once you get to high school, you may decide that you want to go on and study more advanced computer science and related topics, but you might decide that your love is in music or art or healthcare or English literature, and computers can help you in all of those things. You will begin to understand the computer science behind the world that is our world today, the world of smart refrigerators and smart cars, but you'll also be learning how to apply it to the field of your choice. So even if you don't want to be a computer scientist, you can use computer science to do what you love to do. So thank you so much for allowing me to join you tonight, and I look forward to coding with you a little later. Go ahead, Sean.
Thank you so much, Elisa, for your help today and joining us this afternoon. So we have next Marika Conrad, who is a PhD candidate in the College of Education at the University of Maryland. Her research focuses on the intersections of educational technology and equity. Marika is a former middle school teacher and has both a master's in curriculum and instruction from Boston College and a bachelor's degree in elementary education in Spanish and Hispanic studies from Creighton University. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, and thank you for having me and for the chance to speak with you all about the importance of computer science for each and every student. My name is Marika Conrad, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Maryland. I focus my work on computer science and how we can create more equitable computer science opportunities for students. And for me, the story of why we need more computer science opportunities for students begins with my own story. Next slide. I love technology, math, and science growing up. I dreamed of being an aerospace engineer, and I built a computer as a sophomore in high school. But despite my dreams and being a student who loved math and science, I never took a computer science course because my high school, which was the only one in my hometown and had over 2,000 students, didn't have any computer science courses. And there definitely weren't computer science courses in my elementary school. And so knowing that I didn't have access to computer science courses motivates me to focus on how we can provide all of our students with quality CS experiences so that they have CS skills, not just for future jobs, but to succeed and to thrive in a society where computers are on many street corners and they're in almost every one of our pockets. Next slide. So I'm going to ask you kids if you can use your reactions here. If you've used a robot or code.org or Scratch or some other programming platform in class, because computing education has changed greatly and more and more computing opportunities are available to kids, a lot more than I experienced. And you can see all these hands up. These are kids who've already had computing. Next slide. A lot of this is because computing opportunities are available since more jobs are available. They're growing across the country. But preparing students for computing jobs isn't our only motivation for teaching computer science and computational thinking to students. In fact, computer science jobs, as we think of them, if you head to the next slide, aren't the only jobs that use computer science and computational thinking. So again, opportunity for a little engagement. If you will either tell a family member or put in the chat, students, what do you want to be when you grow up? Some of you might have said computer scientist, but a lot of you are saying other things. We've got people who want to be in the NBA, who want to be doctors, who want to be gamers. And you know what? A lot of those jobs, whether you think about it or not, are going to use computational thinking and computer science. Go to the next slide. Computational thinking is part of the jobs of medical doctors, of biomedical engineers, of mechanics and data journalists, architects. Computing is really all around us. Next slide. So it's in the technology that we use and that surrounds us on every street corner. Next slide. It's part of everyday objects like our cars and is embedded into things that we think of as analog. With the ubiquity of technology comes a ubiquity of computer science in our society. Next slide, and go ahead and start the video. But let me tell you, kids just like you guys are doing some pretty incredible things when they're given the opportunity to code. And most of them don't have to do with the algorithms that are running Google or designing the next self-driving car. You need look no further than the front page of Scratch, which is an online coding community, to see what kids as young as those who are here today can do. Kids are creating not only their own games, but they're programming art projects. They're finding new ways to represent old ideas like the quizzes I spent so much of my childhood doing in magazines. And they're expressing their interests through coding and creating new things every single minute. Next slide. Being computationally literate, next one, sorry, thanks. Being computationally literate or able to read and write computer programs and understand the mechanisms behind what our technology does is important for students, especially given that society as a whole has a tendency to marginalize women and people of color. So coding and computational literacy can empower our students and amplify their voices in a way that can forefront them and their lived experiences, rather than continuing the domination of Eurocentric ideas. The skills that kids develop while studying and engaging in CS open more opportunities than just jobs. They open opportunities in the future. Early experiences in platforms like Scratch or on code.org provide students just like you with the opportunity to use coding and computational thinking to change society, be creative, and support your own communities. There are a range of incredible initiatives that are supporting students to do this, and I want to share just a few with you. These are examples of ways computer science amplifies student voices and concerns through the products they create. Next slide. So, kids, can I have you again use your reaction? If you've used Scratch, raise your hand or hit the reaction button so I can see how many of you there are out there. Wow, there's so many. Students like you have used the Scratch platform to create games that are called serious games. So these games depict the daily realities that kids have and the implications of their decisions. In this game that you see on the screen, the creator depicts decisions that he and his family have had to make living in a high crime community. In this screenshot, you see the player deciding about whether to report vandalism. If he reports it to the police, the player faces backlash from a local gang. But if he doesn't report the vandalism, the violence in his neighborhood escalates. In programming this game, the student creator wanted the player to better understand the realities of living in his neighborhood. Next slide. In another example from the same class, a student created a game that educates about racial profiling. In the beginning of the game, the player gets to choose a race. That decision affects how the player is treated throughout the game. For example, the second image shows an interaction with the police when the player selects Mexican as his race. Through this game, the student creator wanted to provide the player with examples of how interactions with the police differ based on race. Next slide. In another project, students collected data about their peers and their families' eating habits and their connections with food. They analyzed that data to understand the food choices that were being made and then considered these choices based on the reality of their neighborhood, such as how easy it was to access healthy choices in grocery stores. At the conclusion of the project, students chose to create scratch coding projects as a call to action and shared them with their community. Next slide. And one more, can you guys raise your hand if you've used an app on a cell phone? It seems like almost everyone has, right? Did you know that you can create your own apps? This is an app that was created by a 10-year-old girl on the MIT App Inventor. It's designed to coordinate relief efforts following flooding in a city in India called Chennai. The app allows donors to locate donation centers and pinpoint what the centers need. And it also lets social workers see what donation centers have to coordinate the distribution to people in need. Next slide. One more app that was created by kids was used to promote mental health awareness and allows kids to track their emotions. And this app was challenging for the creators because they had to think about moods and the complexity of moods. So they became more proficient coders as they got to support their peers. Next slide. And programming is also an incredible opportunity for students to be creative. These are from a project that I worked on where all the students had the same computational goal. They had to get one sprite to move across the screen until some condition became true. In this case, touching something else was often that condition. And in all of these projects, the students succeeded in the computing goal, but they also were able to express themselves and who they were. The projects included common memes, popular characters, and plenty of human hidden gems. Next slide. Another way to do this is e-textiles. I bet some of you have had light up shoes. How cool would it be to program your own light up clothes? An e-textile is a sewed circuitry project that's controlled by a coded program. The top image shows this process. First, students create diagrams of what they're going to sew, and then they sew the pieces and then attach them to a small microcontroller, which is basically a little computer that then they write a computer program for and upload. And this can control the blinking and lights that are on their clothes. Next slide. A group of elementary-aged girls use this in coordination with dance in order to program their costumes to go along with their choreography. Next slide. So the importance of computer programming and how it's used and the new avenues it gives kids to use their voices and express the things that are important to them, whether they're doing so for social change or just to create something that represents them. Next slide. So when I say that we should have CS for all and that every kid in the US should have access to welcoming, equitable computing classes, I'm saying that every kid, all of you guys, should be given the opportunity to use computing for your passions and to be computationally literate. Next slide. Our students are receiving more and more opportunities to learn computer science in school, and this is a great start. But we need to think beyond just computer science for jobs and also think about it as how we can prepare students with the tools and power they need to change society. Next slide. When we talk about teaching computational thinking, we're talking about the possibilities that we provide for our students when they have equitable, unhindered access to CS courses. Thank you to all of the parents who support computer science education and for supporting your students as they build essential computer science skills. And students, take advantage of these awesome opportunities. Whether you want to be superheroes or authors, firefighters, pilots, computer scientists, or some job that we haven't even named yet, you will continue to be affected by technology, and I hope that you will take advantage of it. Thanks.
Fantastic presentation, Marika. I was very inspired and I agree. You can find computer science in any field, and that is what we're trying to expose our students here in PGCPS. Our coding activities are arranged by grade level. And if you are in pre-K and to first grade, you are in room 1, and this is room 1, so you won't have to move anywhere. If you are in grades 2 through 3, you will be in room number 2, and in grades number 4, you will be grades 4 and up, you will be in room number 3. You will have 30 minutes to learn a new skill and explore an activity. Once your session is completed, your facilitator will dismiss you at that time. In order to access our coding activities tonight, please visit this website. And I'll give you a chance to go ahead to that website. Can you take them back to that website, please? Yes. So here's this website. And if someone can you put it in the chat so that parents and students can access this website, please?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joelle. All right. Go ahead, next slide. When you get to this website, I need you to scroll down to the bottom of this page where it says main activities 6:30 to 7. And so at that bottom, you'll be able to click on the room of your choice, and then that link will take you to a Zoom meeting link. Okay. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, but you can go ahead to your Zoom meeting link and have a wonderful time. And thank you for joining us this evening.